entertainment industry? Well, guess what? There are lots of ways to become involved. My guest today is Valerie Bittner, model, actor, voice artist, and more. Welcome to the Young Professionals Career Catalyst, Valerie. How are you?
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's so good to be here.
So, you've had a really fascinating career, a little bit of everything in the entertainment industry. What did you do first? The modeling, the acting, something else?
The modeling started first. I was doing like bridal runway shows, print ads, and things like that. It wasn't until a local sketch comedy troupe that had a show on then Twin County, now RCN, now Astound. Um, they were looking for someone to portray Paula Barbieri in the sketch O.J. Simpson, What I Want to Tell You for the Money Homicide Special.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so I did that, and I was bit, I was hooked. Yeah, acting became everything to me.
That's awesome. What a neat role to have too. I knew that name sounded familiar, but I'm thinking until you said O.J. Simpson, I'm like, oh, I remember now. So when you were a child or teenager, did you know you wanted to be a model, actor, voice artist, or did you have some different ideas?
Well, I was always known as dramatic, but I never hoped to dream that big.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was waitressing as a teenager, and my hope was to get the day shift Monday through Friday and get a trailer in Highland Estates Trailer Park. I mean, that was as far as I allowed myself to dream.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But you did then get a degree in communications. And
Yes.
what did you envision doing in that field?
Well, I didn't start in communications. I was your local LHA league leader for many, many years. I needed college credits to take the IBCLC exam, which is a master's degree level exam in lactation.
Okay.
So all of my credits at that time were nursing credits, anatomy and physiology, chemistry, things like that. And it was during that time that someone approached me about getting into modeling that suddenly things shifted. So I finished the degree in communications because regardless of what field you go into, having good communication is so important.
Absolutely. And I'm sure even more so when you're an actor and a voice artist.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more. How has your degree helped you succeed in various roles? Specifically, can you give us some examples of how communication degree has
Well,
helped you?
intercultural communications, being opened not only to different cultures, but like every day I'm with a new team of people and we have to crank out a project, whether it's a photo shoot, a web video. Most web videos are shot in one day, television commercial. You have to immediately become a team member. And having that communication background surely has helped. As far as voice artistry goes, when I get a script, most people write a script to be read, not to be spoken. So
Okay.
I have to carefully go through that script and make sure it sounds proper, shall I say, when it is actually spoken.
Okay. So you had many years ago a chance encounter in a hair salon that kind of got a lot of this started. So tell us
Yes.
about that.
Well, I came into this business what is considered late in the game. I was 29 years old. I was touching up my gray. I had two little kids at home. And this woman approached me and said, "Have you ever considered modeling?" And I laughed in this poor woman's face. But I did take her card. I went to the agency and they wanted to sell me pictures and classes. And I said, "No, I don't have that kind of money." And she said, I'm going to prove to you that you can't book a job without pictures. She sent me on a bridal show audition and I booked it.
Okay.
So with that money, I went off to Hub Wilson Photography and got my first headshots done, and it snowballed from there.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's awesome. You just never know, you know, chance
Nope.
encounter can be the impetus for a whole new career. That's
And
wonderful.
and for me, as a stay-at-home mom who wanted some pocket change, to do pretty things, uh, it was the perfect part-time job for a mom. I think a
Right.
lot of people don't realize that the majority of what I do is a Monday through Friday, you know, 8 to 5 business. Uh,
Right. Right.
yes, I work evenings and weekends as well, but I could do a lot while my children were in school.
Right. Right. Yeah, that was great that it worked out that way. So you've had so many crazy acting roles. What's been your favorite role so far?
Oh, that's like trying to say who's your favorite child. Uh, I I love each one for various reasons. I'm going to go back to my very first forensic files. I was crowbarred in the head, shot 3 times with a 22, and blown up in a dumpster. I did all my own stunts. Back then, it was still called medical detectives. Back in the early '90s, and they had a lot more budget, so there was a lot more blood, and the crowbar was made out of styrofoam and it had this tube going up it so that every time I got cracked in the head with it, it squirt blood on me. Um, it so just having all of that, and then fast forward when I was beaten in the head with a baseball bat on Forensic Files, they just had me lay down on this rubber blood, and I'm like, this isn't fun. Um,
Yeah.
the other big one I would have to say is I did a car wash commercial and I sat on the hood of a Mercedes Benz and was actually run through a car wash.
Oh my goodness.
So a few things I will share. They do not use warm water on your car.
Oh my
It'll take you
gosh.
about a week to wash that blue goo out of your hair. And those brushes knocked me off the car several times
Oh
where
my
my
goodness.
toes were completely bloody by the end. But
Oh
I
my,
loved every minute of it.
I guess so. So with what you're doing, do you have an agent that represents you in any way?
That's lovely. Recently, a casting company out of Philadelphia called me and said, Val, are you still working? And I said, yes, I am. And they said that they didn't hire independents. So I signed with an agency, non-exclusive.
Okay.
And I think over the last 2 years, she's sent me 3 projects.
Hmm.
So I get the majority of my work on my own. And it's
Okay.
only because I've been in this business now 31 years
Right.
that I've gained relationships with local production companies, independent filmmakers who call me on a regular basis, and it's wonderful.
Right. Right. Well, you're well connected, and that helps no matter what your career is. You need to be well connected.
Absolutely.
So, how is it that you added voice artist into everything else that you're doing already?
Well, back in the day, when you were the person in the on-camera spokesperson in a commercial, at the end of the day, they take you back to the studio, throw you in a booth, and you would do like the voiceover tagline. Now, the person who's on camera is completely different than the voice artist. You can be on camera and some woman in Muskogee, Wisconsin, sitting in her fuzzy bunny slippers is going to be the one doing the voiceover.
Okay.
So as I have aged in this business, technology has really super taken over. So I had to teach myself how to record myself, have an environment where I can record in peace, um, upload it, edit it, etc. So it is an ever-changing world. And it was only because I had done voiceover that was recorded in studios that I was able to put together that demo reel and then go from there.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, what tips would you have for someone that is passionate about becoming an actor?
You better love it. Because there's very much difference between loving acting and wanting to be famous. People
Okay.
ask me all the time, what would have seen you in? And I always love posting things where you don't see my face. Maybe I am in a complete surgical garb with a mask that there's no way you're going to recognize that that was me, because it was about the product or service we were
Mhm.
representing in that commercial web video. Same with voiceover. Nobody's going to know that it's me, the one who has performed it. But you really have to work hard. I pound the pavement every day. I go through the casting notices every day. I submit to things every single day. And then on top of that, try to keep those relationships that I've already built by following up. Hey, how you doing? You know, what project are you working on? I even made relationships with local production companies. Oh, you know, we're trying to put together this commercial, but we need a location. Need a location? Want to use my house? Yeah, come on over. I've done that several times
Okay.
just to be a part of it. So for me, because I am Lehigh Valley based, I have a family. I cannot pack up and move to New York or California. So if it is a young person starting out, that would be my first advice. Move to New York, move to California. Or now Tyler Perry has his studio in Atlanta. It is blowing up down in Atlanta. So if you have that opportunity, do it. My friend Roy, who is an actor in New York, he used to live here in the Valley, but once he went to New York, for them to be able to call him on for SNL and say, "Can you be here in an hour?" He can be there in an hour. I
Right.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be my absolute first advice. And then have some thick skin. This
Okay.
business is 90% rejection. I
Yes.
have been on casting calls where I was told I had fat knuckles. Sorry, we can't use you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and sometimes they're just looking for someone taller, shorter, fatter, skinnier, blonder, blue-eyed. But if you look like the casting director's ex that they're paying a boatload of spousal support to, you're not getting the part.
That's
And
a
it
good
could be
point.
something as simple as that. When I finish an audition, I always like to say, can you critique me?
Hmm.
Um, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And I recently did a commercial, an audition. And the hard thing that's going on now is you're auditioning from home.
Okay.
So again, you have to record yourself. It has to be well lit. You have to have a plain background. This background here doesn't work, you know, for
Right.
auditions. So I have a big green screen that I put up. Um, and after I emailed it, luckily this casting director, she gave me notes and asked me to re-record it. And if you don't have thick skin, that's going to hit you with a knife. But the proper answer is thank you very much. I'll, you know, get that to you shortly.
That's a great tip, and something I don't think a lot of people realize is, they have a very particular way they want things done. They want a particular look, and you have to have that thick skin. So if you get that critique about your fat knuckles or whatever, you can just let it roll off your back. So that's a really good tip.
And then there again, too, in my business, when you go on auditions and you see the men and women sitting there in their white cotton gloves in July, hand model. You know, their hands probably look like something Michelangelo sculpted himself.
Wow. I didn't know that really was a thing, a hand model.
Oh no, there is body part agencies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you know, looking for particular body parts. If they're showing a razor, they need a really great set of legs.
Right, right.
Um, and some actors, choose to have body doubles as stand-ins.
Oh, that's incredible. So, for the voice artist, what does someone need to do to become a voice artist? How do you get that career started?
Voice artistry, again, you need to be able to speak as you and I are right now, just having a conversation. It can't come across as if you're reading. So
Right.
that's number one. Number two is to put together a reel. And voice artistry comes in many different forms. So you have the voiceover, for a commercial, for a radio ad. And then you have audiobooks. You have video games. There's so many things you can do within the industry. So what I always say is put together a reel that has 1 minute from each of those genres. So at
Okay.
least you have something to start with. Many of your casting agencies do represent voice artists as well, because it is considered voice acting.
Okay. So, on top of everything else that you do with acting and modeling and voice artist, you recently became a wedding officiant.
Recently
Why?
is not correct. I
No?
have been a wedding officiant since 2005.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
my best friend had asked me to be the best man in his wedding, but then he wanted his daughter involved. So he said, Val, why don't you officiate? Because at that time, marriage equality was not legal. But I had just went to a wedding where the brother of the groom performed the ceremony. So I called him and I'm like, how did you do that? So he told me how he did that.
Okay.
So I've been doing it. Well, first I was doing it for friends and family, and that
Okay.
was kind of my gift. And
Hmm.
then when friends of friends of friends started asking me, I'm like, it's a lot of work,
Hmm.
to get together, find out what makes them unique, write the ceremony, attend the rehearsal. There's a lot involved. So I decided just to put a page on my website so that I could direct people to it.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I decided, because again, I am a 60-year-old actress, and they're not exactly pounding down my door anymore. So if I could do this on the weekends and make myself more available during the week for auditions and jobs.
Hmm.
So I got myself a graphic designer, Tony Ortiz. He's really fantastic. If anybody wants his info, call me. And my web designer, Nick Valentine, teamed up and we put together, marketing.
Okay.
So I
That's
also have
great.
storefronts on the Knot and Wedding Wire as well.
Oh, you do?
So
Interesting.
I dub myself the celebrity officiant, not so much that I'm the celebrity, but that you should be the celebrity and the star of your wedding.
Oh, I love that. That's
So I
great.
just played off of the little celebrity that I have.
Right. So, what words of career related advice do you have for today's young professionals?
Get a good accountant, get a good accountant. And by the way, get a good accountant. Seriously, I do, I probably work for at least 30 clients a year.
Okay.
Some take taxes, some don't. Some pay me by Venmo. Some people snail mail me a check. It is a massive amount of paperwork that I have to deal with. And then for certain jobs, they want very specific things. They want a lab coat. They want surgical attire. Do you have a gray blouse? That was something recently. No, I don't own a gray blouse. But if you
Hmm.
need me to wear this for your project, you're going to buy it. So receipts, etc.
Okay.
I travel a lot. So get a good fuel efficient car. I drive a Prius. And you have to track those miles
Right.
again, for your accounting. Also, for me, getting a good entertainment attorney. He helped me create my booking agreement. Because I'm an independent contractor, I make sure, and you and I were recently at a networking meeting where I said this, get a booking agreement, and especially in like for a local production company that's doing a web video, and I'm like, okay, this is the information I'm going to need for our booking agreement. They're like, oh, we've never dealt with a booking agreement. And I said, well, if you want to use me, you will,
Yeah.
because it protects me, but it also protects the production company. It says when I'm going to show up, what I'm expected to bring, what I'm expected to do, and then my expectations of being paid at the end of the project.
Right.
So I think a booking agreement makes good friends. So if you can take a few business classes to prepare yourself, regardless of what career you go into, you need to know the business end of it, because if you hand over your business completely to someone else, there's an opportunity for someone to take advantage of you.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's some sound advice for sure. So, on top of everything else you do, you also offer consulting services for people who are interested in working in the entertainment industry. How can our audience get in touch with you, Valerie?
Oh, well, they can just visit valeriebittner.com. I do
Okay.
have a page for my consulting. I do go beyond consulting with actors and actresses, modeling, voiceover. I also consult with small businesses who are looking to put together a video for the landing page of their website or a commercial. They're looking for a production company. They don't know how to start. Why do you want to use professional talent in your marketing? I always like to say, if you're going to spend a couple of $1,000s on a web video that nobody is going to watch, spend $1,000 more and make it something that everyone's going to want to watch and drive people to your website. And so I
Right.
help small businesses in doing that as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today, Valerie. I really
Oh, that
appreciate
flew
it.
by.
um, to my audience, I apologize if there was a lot of background noise. My house is under construction,
So's
so
mine. So's mine.
we're both in the same spot here, Valerie. So if there was any background noise, I apologize. And also, my next episode of the Young Professionals Career Catalyst will actually be on Tuesday, March 19th. We hope you'll tune in then. Thanks, everyone.